That was lovely, Farron. Welcome to episode 238 of the Witty and Gritty podcast. We're your hosts.
Brooke.
Oh, yeah, me. I'm in charge of me. Brooke.
And Farron.
Thank you for that.
If you were tuned into last week's episode, I mentioned I like to use fa la 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 in certain circumstances. And I just want to clarify, we are not currently experiencing those circumstances.
Thank you for clarifying. I was doubting.
Just felt like the right way to start.
I have a lot more peace about it now, which was last week's episode. Feel free to tune back into that one. But this week, we are in our third week of our Advent mini-series. We are talking about joy.
Yes, and who doesn't want more joy in their life?
I know. I think, disclaimer, some people think happy is joy. They're the same. They're not the same.
They are not the same.
Joy is that deep down choosing joy regardless of the circumstances. I feel like happy is
circumstantial.
Yeah.
Yep. It's conditional, not
Conditional,
unconditional.
Yeah,
We were both
Yes.
pausing like, where's that word?
There's something deeper. So we read from Isaiah. We've read from, what was our first one? Matthew?
Yeah, that sounds right. I'm almost to the top. Luke.
Oh. So we've read from Luke, we've read from Isaiah, and now we're going back to the New Testament, another disciple from Matthew.
Yes.
So we're going to be reading Matthew 2, verses 10 through 12, and I'll read it in the NLT, and Farron will read it in the ESV. Do you want to go first?
I think it's your turn. Sharing is caring.
Thank you. That's so nice. That brings me joy internally.
I can hear it with the tone of your voice.
I'll do better with inflection. Hey, I did okay in that one sentence when I read about Mary. Like, how's this going to happen? Anyway, here we go.
All right.
Matthew 2, 10 through 12 in the NLT. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy. They entered the house and saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasure chests and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. When it was time to leave, they returned to their own country by another route, for God had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod.
And the ESV says, when they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way.
So there's a lot of context we're not giving you right now, which we would encourage you to go and read these Gospels. Luke, there's one chapter every day of December pretty much leading up until actual Christmas Day. So you can read one a chapter, or if you just now learned that fun fact, you can read multiple 12 chapters. Read 12 chapters a day. But it accounts for the whole story of Jesus. So the they we're talking about would be the wise men. They saw the star. They were filled with joy because they knew it was time. They found Jesus and Mary, and they immediately bowed down and worshipped, which I think is cool. Like, that is the first thing they wanted to do, was that, and that kind of helps me remember that should be the first thing I'm doing.
Absolutely. Well, when I read through this passage, what stood out to me was the wise men's experience of finally meeting Jesus. And it reminded me of the joy of seeing or experiencing the fulfillment of God's promises.
Yeah.
We had talked about that a little bit with Mary a couple episodes ago, but now we get to see the same joy, if you will, experienced by the three wise men. So they had to travel a really long way. I did a little research that it was a 500 plus mile journey.
Whee!
But then I found everything from it took 40 days to 2 years. So that will just...
It was a
50
long
miles.
journey.
It was long. The wise men, had to keep going. And when they arrived, they offered their treasures and gifts. So they experienced joy. But in their experience of joy, they brought joy to others.
Yes.
So.
I like how you tied joy into the gift of giving too. So they're receiving joy from finally getting to meet Jesus, but they're also joyful in their giving, which is really neat too. So maybe that's the tell. That's the tell. I'm gonna wait to the tell to get there.
Such a tease.
Well, I didn't even mean to. I don't even know if I wrote it down in my notes. So maybe I'll remember. I don't know.
Well, you can type it really quick.
I don't know. We'll see. But also verse 12, you're like, wait, what? Verse 12 is like, and then when they had to leave, they didn't go back that way because of Herod. Like, wait, And we thought about maybe taking this verse off, but then I liked leaving it in because then it gave you context of God is so nice. Again, like he could have been like, well, I'm not going to give you this information, and Herod's not going to be happy with you. but he is again returning a gift to them, like, hey, but don't go back that way. So it's lots of gift giving happening here and lots of joy in these moments too.
It reminds me of our series, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. There's this idea that sometimes we forebode joy or we postpone experiencing joy because through life experiences we've learned that when something good happens, it's not long before something else bad happens again. So why get your hopes up? So I like that we did keep it as well, because how terrible would it have been had they met Jesus, experienced all this joy, and then Herod killed them for that, right? And so God is going to see them another way. Now that other way, who knows? Maybe it was more treacherous and took longer and was not great, but he is still faithful to the faithful. So I'm glad they kept that in there, or that they mentioned that in the Bible, but also that we shared that with you guys today. Don't forebode joy. It's again, not based on circumstances, although it is much easier to express it when times are good. But don't forebode joy. Joy is part of living.
Yes, Jesus is joy. So there's that, or as Tara-Leigh Cobble would say, he is where the joy is. Look at that. We are going to link episodes 28 through 38. That's the Daring Greatly mini-series if you're wanting to dive deeper with that, if you feel like that is a struggle, especially if you are having a tough time the holidays this season. You're missing someone, or someone's not with us anymore, or it's just a hard time, whether it's financially or mentally or whatever it is. Still, we would encourage you to find the joy, even if it's just joy in Jesus. That's all you need anyway.
I've had seasons in life where I see everyone else joyful and wondering,
why not me?
Why can't I seem to flip that switch? So, yeah, check it out.
I love it. Read, pray. We are on pray. I wrote down thanking God for the gift of joy, which is, again, he's so nice. He doesn't have to give us any of these things. He just does because he loves us. And then ask yourself, or ask the Holy Spirit to show you how you can share the joy of Jesus to others. So have you ever tried a thing and it worked and you loved it and you wanted to tell everybody about it? That's how we should be feeling as Christians. We're so excited about what God did for us. We want to share that joy with others.
Absolutely. I put, pray for strength to finish the journey with joy in the process and to share or elicit joy at the destination. And it reminded me of our series on Galatians, where the verse that says, okay, let me try that again. It reminded me of our series on Galatians, specifically the verse Galatians 6:9, which says, so let us not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially to those in the family of faith. So I just thought it was neat because most people will stop at the right time we will reap a harvest of blessing. But wow, what a parallel that the second part of that is to...
Not about you.
Yeah, we should do good to everyone, especially those in the faith, which to me mirrors the journey of the three wise men.
I love that. You mentioned, I guess last episode or 2 episodes ago, about your giftings, and then the wise men gave the gifts. So you could also ask God, like, how can I be serving others in a joyful heart posture to bring joy to others by using the giftings you've given me, and ask for those opportunities. And hey, God, please set me up for that. And also please let me know when it's happening so that I have the wherewithal to know to do that.
Absolutely.
Read, pray, talk. What'd you put for talk, Farron?
So, we all might benefit from some encouragement.
Of course.
Right? I ran cross country. It did help having people cheer you on. But sometimes you're like, then why don't you come out here and run it? But yes, we want to encourage others to press on. And so how can we build that encouragement is looking to bring joy to others. So eliciting joy often leads to feelings of joy. So if somebody's going through a rough season for whatever reason, I know that sometimes I find more joy in giving than receiving. And I don't know why it's harder sometimes to do it for ourselves, but maybe you can find joy if you start by meeting needs of others. But if you are struggling with joy in the current season, I would encourage you guys, we're in the talk section, is to tell somebody, especially because I think we're really good at putting on a brave face.
Especially for the holidays. You've been practicing your fake smile.
Especially for the holidays. And so you need to feel free to confide in others that you can trust, that, you know what, it's kind of a sucky situation. And then I think of Psalm 30, verse 5, that says, "For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime," which kind of goes to the "this too shall pass." But then it says, "Weeping may last through the night, but joy comes with the morning." And so joy, almost like hope, that this is temporary, joy's coming, press on, you'll get there.
I love that. For discussion questions, if you needed some, we put down, what are your best gifts you're bringing to Jesus? So the wise men did not bring cheap things. They brought really expensive things. Even if you try to buy frankincense right now, it ain't cheap. So, and gold, obviously. Myrrh, sure. I imagine that's expensive. I haven't done my research on myrrh and the going rate today. Yeah. But what are your things that you are bringing to Jesus? Yes, he may have blessed you with a talent or a circumstance or whatever it is. How are we going to give that back to God by serving others or pointing others back to Christ? And that can be a thing you pray about too. But how can you be more consistent with it? So even if you and your group, your small group, y'all brainstorm, come up with ways, you might even do a service project together. That might be a thing that you do. It's not too late. You still have 5 days before Christmas, and you can give gifts 365 days a year. So there's that. So think about consistently, how can you consistently bring the gifts or serve others? And then what steps can you put in place as a team or as an individual or with accountability? What can you put in place to ensure that this is going to be a regular thing? And that how does that factor into joy for you and for others? So you can deep dive on those anytime you want.
Absolutely. Okay, that takes us to
read, pray, talk, tell.
We're at the tell. So I also thought about the verse from 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 11. It says, "So encourage each other and build each other up just as you are already doing." So my talk and tell are similar. I think talk is really encouraging, once again, that like if you are struggling, you got to have friends that you can be real with and confide in and mention the suck, right? But then tell is like your response, or if you are in a good season, man, while you're on your high, pour into those other believers or non-believers, and be sure that we're encouraging each other. And I like that he adds, just as you are already doing. So it's almost encouraging the encouragers to press on, not just those that are struggling. And this, again, depending on the audience, can look like helping others reframe their thoughts. Yeah. So, for example, the other day, Gabby just decided to start getting upset in the car. And she said, "You guys always make me do everything." And so to help her capture her thoughts as a 5-year-old, I picked up the words always and everything. And so I said, "We always make you do everything?" And her response is, "Okay, well, not always." And I said, "And everything?" And she's like, "Okay, fine, not everything." And so she's like, "But like the laundry." And I said, "Oh, what do you think goes into doing laundry?" And she's like, "Putting it away." And I was like, "That's it?" And so we walked through all the things that go into the laundry. And then by the end of the conversation, she said, "I'm just tired."
Maybe she needs a nap.
Which I knew from the beginning, but this idea of capturing thoughts is like sometimes she expresses these, but sometimes it's that internal dialogue. So I knew from the beginning she was just tired and falling apart, but I went ahead and addressed that thought and thinking process.
She had to come to that conclusion herself. In our family, we have a rule of don't use absolutes. Never use absolutes. As I use an absolutes. Absolutely never ever use those. But with the always and everything, we don't talk in absolutes. So, and no one does always everything. Except for Jesus. He could do it. We cannot. I just think like, okay, heart beat, lungs breathe, eyes blink. I can't even do everything on my own. I can't even control myself. I wrote down, speak life into your kids on their giftings. We've talked about using your gifts, giving of gifts, whether that could even be financially. Like if they've picked up on someone who doesn't have something, or they just want to gift something to their friend. We found like a bracelet making kit, and they want to make bracelets for friends. Cool, let's do that. That's an easy thing that we can all do. It's not crazy town. It's not some big expensive thing. Buy one kit, make 50 bracelets. Everybody's happy. It's great. What else did I put? and then prompting them, okay, if you think these are your gifts and that brings you joy and you can help others, what can you give back to Jesus? What can you do to serve him and with these? And then how can that bring joy to you or others? Tying back in those questions, but you can also level it down for age appropriateness.
Wow.
That's a lot.
We did it. All 4 things.
So that wraps up episode 238 of our Advent mini-series focusing on joy. Tune in next week. It's the last week of the year, last week of December, and our last week of the Advent mini-series.
I still sometimes wonder if it's 2022. I'm just being honest with you.
Did you just skip that year?
I've done it before. I'll do it again.
That's so funny. Never forget, guys. Farron thought she was a certain age for a whole year, and then I had to tell her, no. We turned this age this year.
It was so many years ago, I'll tell you, that I thought I was turning 34. I thought I had another year till 35. But in fact, I was not currently 33. So I went from 33 to 35 real fast.
So sorry.
Yep.
So sorry about that. Well, we hope you can find joy in that trial that you're currently facing.
I still feel like I'm owed a second birthday party.
Plan it. We'll come. It'll be great.
Awesome. Bring gifts. It brings joy.
That's fine. I will feel joyful giving you this gift.
Perfect.
Hey, Farron.
Yeah.
You know what a great way to start off the next year is, even though we have one more week?
You know what? Sometimes we need to start a week out to make sure it happens.
You're not wrong. We'll warn you guys next week's too. Next week too. I can't even talk right now. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. That's where we have lots of updates. Facebook, yes, we update there, but it gets lost in the feed a whole lot easier. So whenever you hop on Instagram, you can see everything all there. See what's upcoming.
Yeah, we're going to help you get the year started off right. So follow along, and we'll see you next week.
Also, it might not be too late for Amazon to hop on your doorstep. So we will link up. We recently had 7 authors on our podcast, and we'll link that whole blog post so you have their resources. Those will be great. There's some for kids, some for adults, some for people of all age, some for those tweens too. So if you are looking for a godly book or a resource, we'll link that up, and then Amazon can hop on over to you.
Thank you, Amazon.
All right.
We'll see you next week. Bye.